Hi, everyone. Joe Gentili from Saroff Gentili LLP. Just want to share some thoughts on the pros and cons of filing a mandamus case for an immigration delay as part of a group or doing it individually. So for some of you that are in the unfortunate position of dealing with these just really unreasonable delays from USCIS and other government agencies and processing immigration applications, sometimes what it comes to get a decision is you have to file a lawsuit to get it in any reasonable time frame. And the lawsuit's a mandamus lawsuit. And some of you have the option to file this as part of a group. If there's a lot of people in a similar situation, then sometimes you could join a group and the group files one lawsuit on behalf of everybody, or you could do it individually just on behalf of your own. So I just want to go through some of the pros and cons of both. I mean, spoiler alert, one's not inherently better than the other given somebody's situation. It all really depends on a person's priorities and financial capabilities. So starting out with a group, there's been a bunch of lawsuits in recent years on behalf of large groups, sometimes even over 100 immigrants that are filing a complaint over an unreasonable delay. And these lawsuits have gotten a lot of attention, and there are some benefits to going down that road, joining a group. The biggest benefit is probably the cost saving. To be a member of a group filing a mandamus lawsuit is going to be significantly cheaper than doing it on your own. And the reason for that is because if you group together 10, 20, 30, 40, 100 people, there's a lot of work, there's a lot of efficiency for the attorneys in the work they put into the case. So 100 people in a case doesn't take 100 times the amount of effort to do the case. And a lot of that cost saving is passed on to the clients. Another benefit is that if what you want to see is, in addition to having your case get a decision, you want to see systemic change. The idea of these delays really bothers you, and you don't want to see other people impacted by this. Group cases have more of a possibility of getting some sort of systemic change with how cases are processed. So sometimes a successful group case will result in a settlement where future cases are processed in a more efficient way by the government as well. The downsides of the group approach are twofold, and they're significant. Number one, and this is particularly true for larger groups, if you file as part of a group, don't expect to have much individualized time and attention from the attorneys. If you're in a group with dozens of people, it's just not practical to expect that you're going to have the attorney handling the case on speed dial, that you're going to be able to check in, see how things are going, talk about specific things with your situation. That type of communication with the attorneys is going to be reduced. The second disadvantage, and this is, in my opinion, the more important disadvantage, is that the whole purpose of mandamus cases is to get a decision quickly, or to get it as quickly as possible. When you go forward with a group, there is the cases take longer to process than individual cases. They take longer to get to a resolution. And there's two reasons for this. Number one, if there's a lot of a lot of plaintiffs, it takes the government attorneys more time to just get their arms around the case and get their arms around who the people are that are asking for adjudications. And also, because the stakes are higher for these cases, it's a bigger deal for the government to have to give decisions for 50 cases as opposed to one. They're more likely to fight the case. A lot of times with individual cases that are filed, the government will just adjudicate the case in order to not fight the case if it's a viable lawsuit that you filed. But the odds of that happening with a group case go down. It's more likely that the government attorneys handling the case will come from the Office of Immigration Litigation, OIL. They're going to be more sophisticated in immigration matters, and they're also going to have more of an incentive to fight. And that fighting just drags out the amount of time the case takes. So in doing a group case, most of the time it's a trade-off of being able to get it done cheaper, but you're giving up how quick it'll take for the case to resolve. So the other option is individual lawsuits. Mandamus lawsuits on behalf of immigrants, as far as federal litigation goes, are pretty inexpensive. There's a lot of parts to federal litigation that are normally present that aren't present in mandamus cases. That said, individual cases are more expensive to bring than group cases on a per person basis. And the reasons for this are, ultimately, I think, beneficial. The attorneys are able to commit more time to the specifics of your case. The complaint that's going to get filed, the communications with the government are going to be specifically tailored to your situation. You're also going to get a lot more, you should at least get a lot more one-on-one time with the attorney to go over the specifics of your case, both before you file it and after the fact. So there's a lot more personal attention that you'll get with an individual case. And, again, the biggest advantage is that individual cases settle or the cases are decided on a much higher rate than group cases. So meaning that when you file an individual case, there's a good chance, a very good chance, that before the government decides to fight the case, they're either going to settle the case or they're going to adjudicate it. So if you file a viable individual case, it's a good case. A lot of times it takes the government more time to fight it than it would take to just adjudicate it, so they'll just adjudicate it. There's no guarantees that's going to happen, but that's a really common outcome. So whether you go with a group or an individual approach really just depends on your personal situation. If really all you could afford is to be a member of a group, then that is certainly better than doing nothing in a lot of cases. But if you have the money, if you're able to afford it, I think in general you're better off going with the individual case. There's a better odds you're going to get a good result quickly with an individual case than a group case. So if you have any questions, please feel free to give me a call. And if you found this video useful, I encourage you to subscribe. Thanks. Have a great day.